Peace of God and the peace of Jesus Christ be with every one of you this morning. Before I going to start my preaching this morning, we're going to hear a little bit of hymns in English until we're going to have some more brothers. Uh, okay, so let me see here. Let's see to be waiting until some more brothers got getting together until I'll be able to start this morning. All right. It's time for the word of God this morning. Like I said before, the topic is going to be why is so many religions? Why so many churches around the world? Why? Which in the beginning, Jesus only established one church. According to Luke 24, verse 48 to 50, and Acts chapter 2, before Peter started preaching his first gospel in the name of Jesus Christ, which 3,000 people was baptized in the name of Jesus Christ. And also, the second worship of Peter was 5,000 people. So why? Why is so many churches around the world? One of the reasons is because in 3002, after Jesus, okay, the Catholic Church, okay, putting together all the words, all the testimony, all the worship of the Jesus Christ and the apostles. Some of them they refused, thrown away to the trash, but they put in together, okay, and they call in that book the Bible, which the Bible wasn't exist before 3002 after Jesus. Okay, so after that they created a Bible. The first Bible that I remember, I think it was printed in 1100 after Jesus. That was printed 1100 after Jesus. Okay, that was printed, and some others said it was printed in before in 200. I mean, 1,200 after Jesus, which is, I confirm there was an 1100 something after Jesus died. Okay, that's when they created the first church, and created the first Bible. And this Bible, people start buying this Bible, start reading the Bible, and everybody start to going different way to trying to establish their own believer and their own way to preach, the way they thinking and everything. They would, you know, they was trying to establish a different churches around the world, which they did. They established many churches. That was one of the reasons why is so many churches around the world, which only was one church established by Jesus Christ. But what we have to think is that if we going to believe in the salvation which Jesus Christ bring to this world and establish, we have to be able and we have to make sure that we follow up, the same church that Jesus established from the beginning. Okay, say for example, the beginning church has three prayers. They got one 6 o'clock in the morning, one at 3 o'clock in p.m., and one at 6 o'clock evening. Okay, this is the way. Okay, that this brother was doing it. Okay, so and I forgot again. I forgot again that I supposed to be in Facebook with these brothers, and I did the same mistake last week. So I think most of the brothers are waiting for me in Facebook, and but I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish it here, and I'm going to tell them to forgive me because they was waiting for me and in Facebook, and I came out on YouTube. Okay, that was my mistake. So that's why it's nobody here. That's why it's zero. Most of our brothers, at least if I be able to go ahead and it take a little time before I set up, for me to come up alive in YouTube. In Facebook. So I'm just gonna finish. I just gonna finish them up in here, and I be able to translate it, to not translate it to um, send it over to Facebook. Okay, so that's the reason why I just wonder why zero here. There's nobody here zero, which in Kenya, in India is probably around 7 o'clock at night, maybe 8 o'clock at night. So they got about 12 hours after me. So let me see if I can do something about it. Okay, before it be too late. Let me see here. It's okay. Forgive me for a moment. Let me see if I can do something for Facebook. Okay. I don't know if I can do anything about it, but I'm going to try. Like I say, it take a long time on Facebook. Let me see here. Okay. No, that's writing, so I had to come up in video. Okay, let me see. Okay, there we go, video. Okay. Okay, let me see here. Okay. Okay, vamos a ver. Let's see here. Okay, let me see here. Hold on a second. Okay. Oh, Lord, this is a... Okay. Which I got problem most of the time doing this. That's one of the reasons I don't want to do it, because it's too much problem for me, to do this. And it's so easy in YouTube, to do it. So Okay, let me see here. Okay. I just have to finish the way it is. I just have to finish the way it is. It's too complicated. It's too complicated. We're just gonna finish the way it is. They be and I be able to send it over to Facebook because it's kind of hard for me sometimes to go in in Facebook. It was easy, but now they make it more harder for me, not only for me, for everybody. So like I said, for now, we just want to keep going in YouTube, and I be able to transfer over to them. All right. So our topic this morning is, like I said before, why so many churches around the world? Why? Why so many churches? Now let's go ahead and read in Second of Timothy. Let's see, Second of Timothy, chapter 2. Okay, verse 4 and 3. Okay, let me see what it say here. Second of Timothy. This is a brand new Bible. Very hard for me, to open it up because the pages stick together. So it is. Okay, just give me a moment so I can grab it. Okay, so this is First of Timothy. Let's go on Second of Timothy. There we go. Second of Timothy, chapter 4, verse 3. Let me see what it says right there. Okay, it says this way. Second of Timothy, chapter 4, verse 3. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to them service teachers, having itching ears. In other words, those people, because the salvation at the beginning, because whatever Jesus preached, whatever the apostle preached, they disappeared. Imagine, died at the age of 33. Paul died at the age of about 61 or 69. So those time disappeared. The first Bible that was available for the people to buy, I think it was in 1569. On those days, if people started buying Bible and everything, so there was passing so many years behind, and the people don't know anything about what happened to the beginning church, what happened to Jesus, what happened to the apostle, what happened to the church. And of course, everybody has itching. That's what it says here. They having itching ears, itching ears, itching ears. They want to hear. The people want to hear about what's going on, what happened with this and that. So, but the preachers, okay, people that they said they got called in, okay, to preach, they take advantage. They go around the world, they use the Bible because they know the people want to hear. The people having itching ears, and they say, okay, people want to hear. People want to find out what's going on with the beginning church. People want to find out what happened with Jesus, with the apostle. So this is the time for us to make money. That's what they say. This is the time for us, to make up, to build up a church. Let's do it that way. Let's do it. So that's why the many churches start coming and coming and coming because, they know that they have an open door for them because there was millions and millions of people want to hear what's going on in the beginning church. What happened? What happened with the beginning church? What happened with Jesus Christ, the apostle, this? So they have an itching ears. They want to hear what's going on. And these people was taking advantage of that. So that's why look at what Gibbon said. So, and they say, and they shall turn away your ear from the truth. That's what they did. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned onto what? Onto fables. In a part, they say fabulas. In the fables, ideas, okay, philosophy, theologies of people, and that's what they did. Okay, instead to bring the truth, instead to preach the truth, okay, what they did, they fulfill the world. They fulfill the world and lies. Is using the Bible. They fulfill the world, okay, in many fables. Why? Because they wasn't sent by God. That's what it said in Romans. Let's go into Romans real quick. And you can see because they wasn't sent by God to do that. So instead establish the truth, there was established what? There was established the wrong thing. There was established devil preaching, the devil churches, but not God churches. Okay? Not because they use the Bible, that means they are God churches. No. Okay, let's go in Romans in chapter 10. Look at what it said in verse 13. I think it is. Okay, I think it is. Okay. It said, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Okay. Look at what it said, 14. How they shall they call on him, they call on whom they have not believed. And how shall they going to believe? How shall they believe in him? Of whom they have not heard, and how shall they hear without a preacher? In other words, if they don't have a preacher, how they're going to hear? If they don't have a preacher, how they're going to hear? Verse 15. And how shall they preach except they being sent? Look at what it said, verse 15. And how they shall be preached except they be sent. And it is writing, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring gladness of God's saints. In other words, they wasn't sent by God. They wasn't sent. But they take advantage of that. They take advantage of what? Because they know that the world wants to find out what's going on. The world wants to find out what happened with the beginning church. What happened with it? What happened? So everybody have itching ears. Everybody like to hear what's going on. And they took advantage of that. And they fulfill the world of lies. They fulfill the words of fulfillment. Okay? Of the not the truth. Okay? The lies. The wrong churches. The wrong believers. The wrong preachers. Because these people never were sent by God. Now remember that. So that is one of the reasons. That is one of the reasons the world is being fulfilled of so many churches. Because everybody say, oh, you know what? The Lord sent me to preach. I have a dream that the Lord sent me to preach. They're going to the institute. They're going to the school. They've been teaching, by some other person. They were learning from that person. And what happened? And they say, okay, after they finish, they studies, they give them a diploma and they go around the world to preaching. Okay, who sent those people? God. Jesus Christ didn't send them. God didn't send them. Those people were sent by who? By those teachers. Those teachers are the one that give them the diploma, they send them out to the world. But that's not the real preacher. That's not the real person they got been sent to preach. The real person is those that do not only accept, they do receive the voice from Jesus Christ. And the apostle must to see Jesus. In the beginning church, every apostle see Jesus before Jesus sent him, because Jesus said that when he went, Matthew, I think it was Matthew 5 and 10, when he went to the mountain, he called every one of them that got chosen for him. So Jesus is the one that must call this preacher. And before the preachers, God must to call an apostle. An apostle. Because if there's no one there to preach to them, how in the world these people be able to hear? How in the world people be able to learn the truth? If it was somebody in person to do it. That's exactly what we just read. And I'm saying that there in English, explain much more better than Spanish. I love the English because English explain more better than the Spanish. So the people be able, easy for them to understand what I've been talking about. Okay, so in this case in here, what's happening is, if you let's go to Mark, and we're going to see one of the reasons why the people, okay, fulfill the world with a lot of churches. Let's go to Mark. Look at Mark chapter 15. Okay, look over it say. 16. Let's go chapter 16, verse 15 and 16. Okay, look what it says. Okay, let's read from the 12th. And after they appeared in another form unto them, unto two of them, and they walked and went unto the country, and they went and told unto the residue, neither believed them, by believe them. Afterward, he appeared unto 11 people, to 11 apostles, and they sat of meat and upright, when which their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they believed not them which had seen him after he was risen. Verse 15. And he said to the apostle, go unto the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He had believed and be baptized should be saved, but he had not believed, not should be baptized, should be them. See, in other words, those that don't going to be baptized, those that don't going to believe in those apostles, they don't going to be saved. If they don't get baptized, they're not going to be saved. Okay, so this is one of the reasons that many of the people in the world, okay, many preachers today, false apostles, false prophets, false preachers, they say, "Oh, Jesus said me." He said right there in Mark chapter 16, verse 15 and 16. No, according to what they reading here, Jesus was talking to the 11 apostles. Because Matthias, it wasn't there yet. The other apostles, they were chosen by the apostles. So Jesus Christ appeared to them and told them, not to me, not to them, not to everybody. I mean, not to them, but not to everybody. Not to those false apostles. Go around the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Yes, preach the gospel. But no, wasn't for me, no, wasn't for you, no, wasn't for everybody. It was for those people, for those apostles in those days. That's one of the reasons that the people today believe that they have a call from God or from Jesus Christ to go around the world and preach the gospel. That's what they think, because they take this scripture the wrong way. Oh yes, it's good. Jesus been saying it. He said right there, go around the world. No, they didn't say to you. That wasn't the past. They said to them in those days, to those apostles, go around the world, but not to everybody. Not to everybody, but those apostles in those days. That's another reason why this the world being fulfilled a lot of false churches. Okay, now we've been seeing that very, very clear. Now we can see, because many people say, you know why? How can I know? How can we really know who is the real man of God? Who is the real man of God that God sent this on these days to preach the gospel? Because it's so many. It's so many false prophets, so many false apostles, so many false preachers. So many people say it had to be the truth. It had to be someone with the truth on these days, or in these days. Okay, let's see what Daniel said about that. That's what the people say. It has to be someone with the truth. Where will be able to find the truth? Where will be able to find that messenger with the real truth, because it's hard to believe to everybody, because so many churches and so many lying and so many false prophets and everything. How can we tell the difference between one of the other? How can we tell the difference between the false apostle, prophet, and the real apostle and the real prophet, or the false preacher and the real preacher? How can we tell the difference? Now, let's see what Daniel talking about this. Let's go in the book of Daniel. Okay, I hope you got the Bible with you. Let me see what Daniel talk about it, because he did talk about this. Daniel talk about this. Look over in chapter 12, verse 4. Look what it says. But thou of Daniel shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. See? When? Look at this. The book's going to be, the book going to be what? Shut up. It's going to be shutting down. Unto when? Unto the end. Unto the end. Unto the last days. Look what it says. Many shall run unto the fraud, and knowledge shall be increased. The knowledge. How the knowledge is going to be increased? By the science. The science is going to be increased, which is being happening. Look in verse 5. Then Daniel, he's talking himself. Then I, Daniel, look up, and behold, there stood other two, one on this side of the bank. See, thank God, because the Bible English is plain real good, and the Spanish say at this side of the river, and the other one the other side of the river. And according to John, okay, in the Revelation, Apocalypse, they said he saw one at this side of the ocean, the other one the other side of the ocean. But I like this because the English explain more clear. That's be easy for me to explain, to you the way they show this in English. No one on this side. There's one at this side of the bank. In other words, banks could be, it could be the river, it could be the ocean, okay, of the river. But it said of the river. So it said the same thing like Daniel said of the river. Now remember, in Iraq, there was no ocean in Iraq. There was no ocean. There's only two big rivers. They go to South Arabia. The two big rivers, they go to South Arabia. But there was no ocean there, and there's no ocean yet. Okay? So in this case, Daniel compared, okay, the river with, the ocean with the river. So that's why the bank of the river, and the other on the side of the bank of the river. In other words, there was one at this side, one on the other side of the river. That's exactly why my internet, my website is plenty, which I'm going to put my website here, okay, in capital letter, so you can see my website. Okay. I write it down for you. Okay. Is www.thevoiceoftheseventh with the seventh angel.net. Okay. That's what it is. You can see right there, www.thevoiceoftheseventhangel.net. Okay. That's my website. And you can see in my website that they draw one angel at this side of the ocean, another angel on the other side of the ocean. So Daniel saw two. It's only saw two. But according to verse 4, it said the spirits of the Lord told him to shut up. In other words, close that unto the end. Don't declare nothing. Just leave it there until the end. Why? Because someone's going to be declared this in the end. Someone's going to come from God to declare this thing. That's why Daniel couldn't declare himself. The Lord said, no, it's not for you. Just close it up. Okay? Because that's not for you. It's for the end of the days. In other words, it wasn't for Daniel. Okay? Now, keep going with me and keep reading the Bible. Let's go to Revelation. Look at what this is what Daniel said. Okay. Now look, let's go in Revelation in chapter 10. Look at what it said. Now remember that the Lord told Daniel to shut up. Close up. Okay. Those revelation, what's going to happen, who's going to bring the truth on this, the latest days. He saw two, but he didn't say who wasn't. And he just said, what they're going to bring. So because the Lord don't let Daniel do it, he said, no, it's not for you. It's like, just shut it down. Okay. Close it up. And look at what it says in Revelation in chapter 10, verse 1. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with the cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as were the sun, and his feet as a pillars of fire. Okay? Verse 2. And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea, and his left foot upon the earth. Look at it here. And the vision that John has, those 2 foot, those two look what it said, because they said he put in his okay, that was in verse his left foot. Those 2 foot, in other words, we say feet, those 2 foot they had is mean 2 apostles, 2 prophets, 2 men of God from the latest day. Daniel saw one angel on this side of the ocean, this side of the river for him. And he saw another angel the other side of the river. Okay, that was Daniel. But according to John, he saw what? He saw one angel. They had the right foot onto the ocean and the left foot onto the earth. So that 2 foot means 2 apostles, exactly what Daniel said. Okay, now let's keep going on verse 3. And cried with loud voice, as when a lion roared, and when he had cried, 7 thunders unto their voice. 7 thunders, bring this voice. 7 thunders. 7 thunders mean seven preachers, 7 pastors. Okay. Well, I think it's they call in Spanish obispo. Okay, so and I say here, and verse verse, a voice from the heaven saying unto me, see up. Let's read it again. Verse 4. And when the 7 angel thunders, when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write, and I hear a voice from heaven saying to me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. In other words, the same thing. They got told Daniel, to seal up, because it wasn't for him. Seal that up. Fill that up. Because the thing is, they said to the enemy for the latest day. So 2,000 years ago, there wasn't for 2 latest day. So there wasn't for John either. So there was for someone, 2 people, 2 apostles of God for this day. Of this day was for this day. That's why he tells John, do not open it up. Just seal that out. Seal. See, unto me, seal up those things. Seal up those things. In other words, don't declare nothing. Just leave it up. Just leave it. Just seal down. And verse 5, and the 7 angels which I saw stand up on the sea and upon the earth. See, and he got one foot on the ocean, 1 foot on the earth. That means exactly what Daniel see. 1 angel at this side of the bank, and other side the other bank. Okay, and upon the earth and fill up this hand unto the heaven. Verse 6. And he swore by him, they live forever and ever, who created the heaven and the sin that there are, that created the sin there in earth, and the sin that were are in the sea, and the sin which are in the, and there shall be no longer time. It should be no longer. In other words, like he said, you know what? It's getting closer. It's getting closer. Okay? It's not, you don't have to wait no longer. It's getting closer to declare who is those people. It's getting closer to declare who's those people that got sent into the end of the world to preach in the gospel. He don't, okay, no, they said to be not no longer. It's getting closer. But verse 7 says, but in the days, in other words, when the time comes, when the time comes, it's getting closer. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God. What a mystery! The mystery of the Daniel. Okay, seal up. Daniel seal up the mystery. He don't declare the mystery. John didn't declare the mystery. Who's going to declare the mystery? The seventh angel. So the mystery of God shall be finished, and as he had declared to his servant the prophet, he said to Daniel. Okay, but it wasn't for Daniel. But it wasn't for Daniel to declare this thing. It wasn't either for John to declare this thing. Had already chosen someone, and this latest day, to declare this thing. That's why I say, but in the days of the seven angel, in other words, when the time come, okay, when the time was arrived, the seven angel will declare, what's going to happen. I will declare those mysteries. Okay, and that's exactly what happened today. But we was reading before in verse 6, okay, in the same book in here, and where this say, and swear by him that believe forever and ever, who created the heaven and the sea, that there are in the earth, and it says right here, the sea that there are in the sea, and the sea which are therein in the and that shall be no longer time. He said there will be no longer time. It's getting closer. Watch it. It's getting closer. But if you're going to go, let's go to chapter 22, of the same book, and look at what it said. Chapter 22. Now remember, Daniel wasn't able to open the mystery. John wasn't able to open the mystery. Instead, the Lord told me, shut up. Okay, seal the things. Don't declare. Like, in other words, trying to tell you, enough for you, John and Daniel, enough for you, John. Because God already chosen someone, that was the seven angel. They got chosen him for declare those things in those days. And look at what it's saying in chapter 22. Okay? Now, keep that in your mind. Remember exactly what I've been talking about. Look at what chapter 22 say in verse 10. Okay? It said this way. And he said unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is hand. For the time is at hand. In other words, it's in hands. For the time's already came. The time is here. Here. Look at what it said. And he said unto me, said the Lord told Jesus Christ told John, seal not saying of the prophecy. But if you can see in chapter 10, verse 4, he said, seal those things. Seal the book. Like I said, it's not for you. It's not. But he said the time is getting closer. The time will be no longer. It will be no longer. Okay? But the time will be no longer. That's what it said right here in verse 10. And he said to me, seal not the saying of the prophecy of this book, for the time is hand. In other words, it came. It's already. It's in the hand of what? The hand of the seven angel. It's already in the hand of the seven angel. So it wasn't for Daniel. That's why he didn't declare. It wasn't for John. It was for the seven angel. That's it. Verse 7, chapter 10, Revelation chapter 10, verse 7. So look at what it says. Now, let's go to verse 16. Look at what Jesus Christ told John. Look at verse 16. He said, and Jesus has sent my angel to testify unto these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bride of and the morning star, and the bride of the morning star. In other words, this angel, the seven angels, the one they're gonna bring all the what? All this preaching, all this testimony about what's happening with the beginning church. What's happening? What Daniel couldn't bring up, what Daniel cannot talk about it, you know, in Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. He cannot say nothing because the Lord says it's not for you. Seal that up. Close that up. It's not for you. And he said in the beginning to John the same thing. It's not for you. Okay, chapter 10 of Revelation, verse 4. Okay, chop that up. Seal that up. Because, like I said, God already chosen someone to do the work. And that's said in chapter 10, verse 7. Because in the days of the seven angels, okay, when the time getting closer, the day when the time was hand up, there was a hand up, already is a hand, okay, when in other words, when the time came, okay, the seven angel was the time for him to clear that up. So the seven angels start talking, and the seven angels start declare the mystery. And what mystery? The mystery that Daniel couldn't declare on this latest day. The mystery of John couldn't declare on the latest day. And now remember, John was a prophet of God, a real good prophet. A real good prophet of God. God giving a lot of mysteries to him. And he couldn't declare this up. He couldn't. And remember, John was supposed to be the one to declare the revelation. And he couldn't clear this up either. Imagine. John, which he's declared everything in the revelation, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. But because the Lord already chosen someone to do that. That was the seven angel. That's in chapter 10, verse 7. It's only two persons that got chosen for the latest day. One of the person is to bring up, let's go Act chapter 3. One of those angels is the one that's supposed to bring the restoration of the church. That's in chapter 3, verse 21. Look at what it said. It said this way: whom the heaven must receive unto the times of the restoration of all things which God has spoken by the mouth of all his holy prophets since the world began. Jesus supposed to be held what? In heaven. In heaven. Unto the time of the restoration and the whole thing. Why Peter talking about restoration here? Because chapter 12 of Revelation, verse 6, talking about what happened to the beginning church. You can read it until the end, and you're going to find out. Because according to Revelation chapter 13, okay, verse 18, okay, let's read that. Let's go in there. Now remember, this one here is talking about restoration. Now remember, they come up in agreement with Israel and Rome, okay, from Italy, to give the freedom to Israel. That was in 1947 when they come up to that agreement. Okay, they sign up and everything, they come up to that agreement. But they fulfill that in 1948. But they come up with the agreement in 1948. And they fulfill that was given back to the freedom to Israel in 1948. But they started in 1947, which was the year they were born, 1947. Okay, so if we're going to see something here, like I told you before, this angel said right here, according to that Jesus supposed to be held in heaven until the time of the restoration. And I explained to you there was a restoration time because according to Revelation 12 is explain what happened to the beginning church. But if you go in Revelation, in chapter 13, let's go in there real quick. Let's go to Revelation, chapter 13. Look what it said in chapter 13 and verse 5. And there was given unto him, I'm talking about to the beast, mouth of speaking great sin and blasphemy, and power was given unto him to continue for 40 and 2 months. Okay, 42 months. Okay. Now, if you get a pencil or a pen, and you trying to multiply 42 by 31, it won't work. It won't bring up exactly what Revelation chapter 12 verse 6 say. If you go, you multiply 42 months for 28, it won't do it either. For 29, it won't do it either. But if you multiply, okay, 30 by 42 months, it will bring up exactly the same number they said in Revelation chapter 12, verse 6, 1,260 days, which Daniel speak about in chapter 12. Daniel say for time, because it was the time of Jesus, times, because it was time of darkness, okay, and half time, which what we are today. We are the half time, okay, the latest day. So, but what bring me up some kind of very interesting thing here is in verse 18. Look what it says. Here is a wisdom. Here is a wisdom. Let him that hath understanding, let him that understanding count the number of the beast. In other words, it wasn't for everybody. It didn't let any door open for everybody to find out which is the number of the beast. No, it's not for everybody to search and try to get it like everybody do. No, he said, here is a wisdom. In other words, somebody had the wisdom. Let him, in other words, that person that had the wisdom, here's the wisdom, let him, in other words, the person that had the wisdom, let him that had the understanding count the number of the beast. In other words, whoever got chosen, which was the seventh angel, to do that, he's the one that had the wisdom, let him count that number. That's why I count the number. The number of the beast is not 666. No, it's not 666. The number of the beast is 1,200 what? 260. Because it's the time of ages, it's the time that the dragon, okay, Satan, gave to the beast to work for 1,260 years. Okay, that was called in the time of darkness. That's one of the reasons with the time of darkness, okay, nobody could read the Bible because the Catholic Church prohibited it. They said, no, it's a sin for you to read the Bible. Why? Because they don't want nobody find out they're talking about the idols, according to Exodus chapter 20, verse 3 ahead. Okay? And that was prohibited by God, for us to have idols, to have images of the things, of God or anything like that. But for them to cover up the sins, they said, okay, it's a sin to read the Bible. Okay? So that's why they call it the time of darkness. That was the time of darkness, 1,260 years. Why? Because that was the time that was given by Satan to the beast to operate and to work and bring the false doctrine to the world. Okay? And look at what it said. So it said, okay, so in other words, there was someone, like I said, there was someone who was chosen, those two persons that got the Daniel saw in chapter 12, verse 4, the two angels that John saw, okay, one up on the sea and the other one up on the earth. So one of them is already died, is the one that bring the what? The restoration of this world. As according to Acts chapter 3:21. But it's only one person, it's only one angel left. It's only one angel left of those two angels that Daniel saw and the two angels that John saw. It's only one angel left. And I'm going to prove it to you. Let's go in Revelation. Let's go in Revelation chapter 11. Look at what it says in verse 15. Look what it says in verse 15. It says this way. And the seventh angel sounded, and there was a great voice in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever, forever and ever. In other words, he don't mention the two angels; he only mentioned one, because according to other verses we saw this on here, they're supposed to be killed, and they're supposed to bury, okay, in not inside a cemetery, but there was let me find out. It said right here. Okay, let me see where they were supposed to be buried. Okay, let's read from verse 1. And there was given me a reed light unto the rod, and the angel stood, saying, rise and measured the temple of God and the altar, and then the worship therein, but the court which out of the temple. They call it court. I don't know why, but they call it that way. They call it court, which out of the temple leave out a measure is not for, because it was given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they did under foot for 42 months. In other words, foot for 40 and 42 months. That's exactly what I just read. The 42 months is exactly what you multiply 42 by 30, come up 1,260. That's exactly what is said in Revelation chapter 12, verse 6. Okay? So those in the patio, in other words, the prophet that was died, that was buried in the patio. It wasn't buried in the cemetery. So there's only one prophet left. It's only one prophet left. That's why I said verse 15, the seventh angel was the only one that talked. It's the only one that talked. Why? Because the seven angels, the only one that's supposed to declare the mystery. Not the other one. Not the only one. The other one was chosen to bring the restoration. But the seven angels, the one that's supposed to bring what? Declare, in other words, declare the mystery. Also only him. Chapter 10, verse 7, you can see that when the seven angels start talking. Okay? So, one of the things before I finish here, because I got all the verses, which I don't want to use so many verses because I had to eat something. I had to eat breakfast and start at 10 o'clock in Spanish. In Spanish, I have to start 10 o'clock in Spanish. And I can see over here in chapter 16, before I close up the book, chapter 16 of Revelation, look at what it said in verse 17. It said this way, and the seventh angel poured out his veil onto the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven, from God, from the throne, in other words, from God, saying, it's done. It's done. He says it's done. In other words, when the seven angels finished these mysteries, they start mystery of the revelation and bring up, what these mysteries that Daniel couldn't bring up, also that John wasn't able to bring up, the time will be ended. That's exactly what it said in chapter 10, verse 7. Okay, let's read that again. But in the days of the voice of the seven angels, in other words, when the seven angels start talking, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God shall be finished, and as he had declared to his servant the prophets. In other words, who's going to end it? Those prophecies. Who's going to bring up those prophecies? Not the two angels, only one angel. So the seven angel was the last one. Now, I just want to give you those other chapter and verses. You can write it down. You can write it down on Genesis chapter 49, verse 16. And you can find out who was then. That was a prophecy from Moses. Okay, Genesis 49:16. Okay, and you can read. Okay, um, Revelation chapter 15, verse 1 and 2. Then you'll be able to find out where this angel come from and where this angel, okay, his name was. But not only that, you can read that in chapter 21, verse 17. But let's read from 16. Look at what it says. Okay, in chapter 21, verse 16. And the city light four square, and the length is as the large of the breadth, and the measure of the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs, the length and the bridge and the height of at it are is equal. In other words, it's equal. Of it are equal. And his measure he walked therefore 140 cubits, according to the measure of man, that is angel. Look at that. That was angel, means somebody was sent by God. Measure of man. How do you measure a man? By the years. To be able to find out how old a person is by the year. So that's the way you measure a person. The measure of man, that is of the angel. So if you multiply 144 times 3, okay, which 3 foot, a yard is 3 foot, it's only going to bring up to, I don't know, I don't have a, let me see here, let me see if I can get it in my cell phone. Let me see if I can get it in my cell phone, and I tell you right now how many feet it's going to be. Let me see here. Let me go in here real quick. Okay. All right. Come on. Okay, let's go to calculator. Okay. So we're talking about 144 times 3 equal 432 feet. 432 feet is going to be that wall. That wall is 442 feet, which is not very big. But if you read verse 16, you can see how big it is. How big it is, that city. That city. Look at verse 16. That city is huge. It's big. It's huge. So if that city is huge, how in the world that wall will be enough to cover that city? Now, according to Jeremiah's chapter 1, verse 8, I think it is, or verse 5, something like that, it said that they got chosen Jeremiah as a wall. In other words, as a protection, for the church, as a protection for the city. In other words, a wall mean a protection from the city. Because it said right here, you see, and he measured the wall, okay, he measured the wall, but that wall was kind of small. It's only 432 feet. But you can see in verse 16, and the city light 4 square, and the length is large as the breadth, and the measure of the city we read 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height is equal. In other words, do you understand? I mean, it's kind of small. There's no way in the world is talking about that 144 is mean for the wall of the city. In other words, 144 is mean, okay, the birthday of the seventh angel. If you separate it, you put one on one line, okay, you put a hyphen on it, okay, in one line, okay. Then you put the 4 on one line. Then you put the 4 and 7, it will give you 1,447, which is January 4, 1947. That's where I'm born. I'm born in January 4, 1947. In other words, it's talking about the birth of that person, of the seventh angel, that person that's supposed to be declared the mystery of the Lord. But not only that, Moses declared his name in Genesis chapter 49, verse 16. And according to Revelation chapter 15, he said where it's coming from. Because say right there, let's go in there. Let me see. Let's go real quick in there. Look at what it said in Revelation chapter 15. It said, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues for him then and as a feel of the wrath of God. 7 angels. What was this? According to Revelation chapter 8 and 9, okay, it's talking about the sick, but the 7 angels only talking about in chapter 10. Okay, verse 2. And I saw as a word and I saw as it were a sea of glass, this is mantle with fire, and then that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over his number and his name. In other words, the 7 angels, the one they declared who was the beast. That was Boniface III. And where he's coming from? He's coming from in the year 66. That's when they start, killing all the beginning church. Okay? And his name was Boniface III. So the 7 angels coming from that ocean, okay, from that island, okay, he's the one to declare the mark and declare the number and declare the name, okay, because he was chosen from God to do that. He was the one to chosen to do that. So he's the one, according to Revelation 10:7, he's the one that chosen God to do in this kind of thing. Okay? So we can see now very clear how being so many churches around the world, so many religions, because those people never was sent by God. Never. God only chosen 2 for these latest days. One to bring the restoration, one to bring the mystery, which to end it, okay? And the one to fight against the beast, according to chapter 17 of Revelation. He's the one when he finishes his work, according to chapter 16, verse 17 of Revelation. When he's finished his work, it's gonna be. Let's read that again. Revelation chapter 16, verse 17. And the 7th angel poured out his veil onto the air. And there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it's done. It's done. That's exactly what it said in Revelation 10:7. So when the 7 angels are going to start preaching the truth, or going to start to declare this mystery, the mystery is going to be finished. It's going to be finished on the what? Under the 7 angels. It's going to be finished in his saints. So the 7 angels, the only one they got chosen to preach the gospels in this world the latest day. So why is so many other ministers? Why so many fourth prophets? Why so many apostles? God didn't chosen them. Jesus don't call them. Daniel saw 2. Okay. John saw 2. They don't say too many to bring the gospel to this world. So why in the world these people said they got been chosen then, and they preaching like they really have the truth and trying to to bring the people to darkness and bring people to the light, to Jesus, to the salvation. It's only one person being chosen by the Lord, okay, and these later days to bring the gospel of the truth. So it's no reason why to be so many churches. It's no reason why to be so many ministers, too many false prophets, and too many apostles, because only one name in there. And I give it to you real clear, okay, in basis of the Bible, that his name was in Genesis 49:16, okay, and he born in the island, chapter 15, and he's the one to declare the name of the beast, where he's coming from at the number. And not only that, he's the one, okay, to say Jesus Christ told John that he been sent his angel to talk to the churches. And he's born in January 4, 1947. That's in chapter 21, verse 17. So it's so clear what I've been talking to you. It's so clear to bring the truth to you the way it is today. And I feel sorry again for this brother that waiting to me in Facebook, okay, because I saw that. Sorry, I saw that, that I'm gonna do it in YouTube, but I promised to them it's gonna be in Facebook. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna let you know that I did it, but I'm gonna send it over. I'm gonna transfer over to Facebook. So this is what I have today. This is what I have from the Lord to preach in the gospel, to preach in the truth about why is so many churches, why is so many religions in this world. Why? Because they were thinking that the Lord chosen them to do this work, but it wasn't chosen them in Mark chapter 16, verse 15 and 17. They were chosen those apostles of those days, not these people of this day. Because when God chosen someone, Jesus will call that person. And when Jesus will call that person, Jesus will call that person in a spirit. In those days was in person, because he was in person, and today is in the spirit. So Paul saw a light, but there was Jesus in that light talking to him, according to Acts chapter 9, verse 5. Okay? There was Jesus in that light. But I saw Jesus myself. And I talking to Jesus many, many times. Not when I dreaming, not when I sleeping, it's when I just awake. The Lord told me what to do and told me exactly, what's going on. So everything will be for the glory of the honor of the Lord. God bless you all. I'm going to read some of the chats, live chat. Tesanita, brother, how do you want me building? Just be normal. Okay. Okay, what's okay? You want be bilingual. I don't know what she means, bilingual, but I don't know. But why you should be bilingual? Just be normal. I am normal. I am normal. I am normal, very, very normal. Then she said again, Tashinda said again, brother, why don't you just have fun and go vacation and relax, life and beautiful? No, I don't have time. The time of the 7 a.m. is so short. I don't have time for vacation. I don't have time for nothing. I don't have time for joy in my life. Remember, I was dead in the room of my mom for 10 hours. They're almost 2 hours after I born. Okay? And I never see anyone, any child that was dead in the room of his mom for more than 10 hours. And after born, okay, because he was born, I mean, they took me out of my mind because my mom was in critical condition. She almost died. And they took me out. God give me the name. God give me the life, so I belong to the Lord. I'm here for the purpose. I'm here to bring the truth. I'm here to fulfill what Revelation chapter 10, verse 7 said. That's my job. That's my time. I don't have no time, to go vacation. I don't have no time to relax. Okay, I don't have time to have beautiful life. I can't. I wanted to see any apostle that have beautiful life. I wanted to see any apostle that went, to vacation. I don't see no one of them. No one of them went to vacation. No one of them have a good life. Okay, so this is my time. This is my job. Even if I had to die in this job, I had to do it. But this is my job, and I had to fulfill the work of the 7 angels. So I just given to you folks my website, which is the www.thevoiceoftheseventh with angel.net. So that is my website. Go ahead and look at it. And God bless you all. Like I say, love you in the Lord. And I'm going to go ahead and transmit this to Facebook because many brother was waiting for me in there. So I just have to let him know that the next time it's going to be on YouTube. So everybody will see me on YouTube, and I will translate it. Not translate to send it over to Facebook. God bless you all. I'm going to start pretty soon at 10 o'clock in Spanish, which today in Spanish is going to be, the topic is going to be, ser en Spanish the tema, the topic is going to be let me see here, circumcision, the circumcision. Why they had the circumcision on those days and why we don't need a circumcision in these days. It's a beautiful topic, and I hope you'll be able to tell me. God bless you all. Okay, and I see you at 10 o'clock, and you too again. God bless you.